Welcome to Demolition Success Secrets, the podcast that's changing the game for demolition businesses everywhere. Ever wondered how a wrecking ball wielding industry can leverage digital marketing to dominate their market? Well, we've got the blueprints, strategies, expert guests, and more to show you how. Stay tuned, because we're about to blast through the barriers of your business.
Awesome. We are live, guys. Welcome to another episode of Demolition Success Secrets. We have a really, really awesome guest today. And it's actually funny. We were in our pre-interview, and he is close to a buddy of mine, Luke, over at Phaser Marketing. So welcome on, Devin.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely, man. So you guys have been doing this since 2016, more or less?
2017, yeah.
Okay, sweet. So how did you get in the business?
So it kind of goes back a little bit. I started in landscape construction back in high school, and as life goes, just bouncing back with different things, trying to find your passion and everything. I always kept going back to landscape construction and construction itself, and then just over the years it developed into a higher passion of just wanting to be in equipment and start up the business and go from there. So yeah, it's been a journey now that I think about it, man.
I could only imagine.
Yeah.
But you're here now. Was the journey worth it? Because I'm sure there's some ups and downs. You're probably in a really, really awesome place relative to when you're starting it off. Is it worth the hustle? Every day is a challenge, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. Oh man, absolutely, man. Every day is worth the effort that you put into it. As long as you're willing to put into it and be consistent with it and everything. I mean, those are kind of the two things that drive things, whether it's starting out or whether it's a continuation of a process, and that's action and that's consistency. And it's very interesting. If I would have thought about that in the early years, I think that may have, now thinking back to it, I think that may have deterred me a little bit, but I was just so hungry and I just wanted it so bad. Man, it's definitely been a process, but where it started in the beginning, absolutely not easy. Because actually, when I started the business, it was in a wheelchair and walker. So yeah.
Wow, what happened?
So I had started the business a year prior to the first season, and then the first season was going to be basically full time and everything. That was 2017, and it was April 13th. I was coming back from having dinner with a friend of mine, and someone sideswiped me on my motorcycle, and that ejected me off there. I ended up smacking a tree in the woods about 70 feet off, and yeah, it was a long recovery and process, and definitely had struggling thoughts, while being in the hospital and being banged up. I mean, for instance, I broke all the fingers on my left hand and tore off my thumb, so that was kind of like a big thing for me, waking up and being like, dude, am I going to be able to operate properly? Certain things like that,
Crazy. Have you been on a bike since?
Yeah, dude.
I knew that was going to be the answer. Once I heard the laugh, I was like, he's addicted. I get it.
Yeah. I mean, with anything, if you got a passion for it, you're going to keep doing it. But part of it as well, learning lessons, like not to be fearful. Like a situation like that, it's kind of unavoidable and out of my control. And the fear that I did have getting back on the bike, I want to say mostly probably wasn't my own. It was just a cause and effect of being caught up in someone else. And part of what life is. So, learning a lesson, hop back on the horse, try it again, and go from there. Now, am I still riding a lot now? No. I got a lot of bigger priorities now.
That's awesome. So what is a day in the life for Devin? I'm sure
Oh
it's
man.
very different every day. What is a
Yeah.
normal day, let's say?
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm currently half in the field, half out the field. So, doing a lot of bidding, estimating, and working on the back end as far as our processes and everything. And scheduling. That was kind of like a big thing last year, being fully straight commercial. We only did a couple of residential projects last year, so that was one of our biggest thing is dealing with the schedule and the balance of dealing with a lot of these various different GCs, contractors, investors, stuff like that. So
Different game, totally different game. Is it
yeah.
easy to play by their rules? Do you make them play by your rules? Like, how do you kind of deal with that? We know GCs getting paid can be a pain sometimes. We know investors obviously want to always save money and things like that and ask you to cut corners. How do you kind of like, I assume maybe meet them in the middle so that way you get some benefit and they get some benefit?
So I'll say it like this. This is the same thing I say to my guys, and it's the same thing that I say to clients sometimes. You have your vision and you have what you want. You have reality, and then you have compromise.
Mm,
And life is compromise. So
yeah.
um it's a little bit of both. Like, yes, you gotta it's like walking the tight what is it called, the tightrope or whichever.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know some days, they're playing more so to your beat. Other days you're playing more so of their beat. But the main thing though is really trying to work together. Finding a client that you're going to continuously work with, that communicates properly, and that wants to communicate properly with you, and also wants to build with you. That goes into obviously the relationship aspect. That's kind of like a main focus for us. So uh we do a lot of work with GCs that particularly aren't we haven't had the best experience. And a lot of the time, it's kind of one and done, or maybe like it's a two-shot thing.
Mm,
But majority of our work and what we kind of focus on, and the strategy that I've been building is more so of building on relationship, building together, and then going from there. Kind of like that
got it.
old school little approach. It's nice if you can build something up to have a handshake mentality. I'll sit there and say that, to have a handshake mentality. I mean, everything's getting a contract though. Let's not play that game.
Right. Absolutely.
But it makes
That makes
things easier.
sense.
Yeah, yeah. It makes the work of life easier and more enjoyable, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair. Now, obviously, you work with Luke, and he does a great job
Yes,
over at
absolutely.
Phaser.
Yes.
How do you guys, I guess he helps you get inbound leads and opportunities. Obviously, the branding is fantastic. How do you guys get business, more or less, besides the handshakes and things like that?
So right now it's kind of, boy, it's kind of like a little bit of, I'm not sure if it's 50-50, or maybe I want to say maybe it's like a 30-70. It's probably more so like a 30-70 right now. But a lot of our leads are reoccurring, from
Okay.
other companies. So we probably minimum get in about, I don't know, 60 to 80 leads a month easily, just, from our reoccurring clientele and everything like that. And obviously those projects scale, like, that's a lot of the times that's minimum, 50,000, and goes up,
Right.
and then the rest is more so of just that SEO, the our presence in and of itself. We are ranked number one in our state right now, in our area for our state right now for excavation and grading and everything. So certain things like that, and then just having reoccurring, Google ads, and then regular social posts here and there. Although I've fallen off on that, I was in control of that. I've fallen off on that.
You're too busy with the other stuff. It's a good problem to have, right?
Yeah, dude, it's a very good problem, because where I was at originally, it's crazy, right? Especially watching some of the younger guys nowadays. While I was growing the business, I was showing everything. You know,
Mm.
I was posting everything, showing everything, kind of giving like my process, da da da. Within doing that, yes, because you're new, you have a certain level of ignorance, but also you're giving people a lot of like access to you. And if I'm having 10, 15, 20 questions a day, that spiral into several hours of conversation, it's like, dude, if I'm trying to figure it out myself, how can I teach you? When I
Right.
started this, I was 22, so yeah,
Wow.
it's been a process in and of itself, but that's one thing that I do look back at, and I'm like, okay, I had a little bit of ignorance, and having all those questions and people eyes on, and also opinions too. People love to tell you that you're
Mm.
doing something wrong. And it's hard for other people to be, because I'm very critical, but I feed off that critical aspect. So it's very hard to talk to someone and be like, oh yeah, well, why are you saying I'm doing it wrong? Can you explain it? So I can understand that that in and of itself, that can feed into you and mess things up as well, bro. So
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's crazy. It makes sense. Like you kind of have a good thing going for a while there, and then you're just like, all right, there's bigger fish to fry,
yeah,
and allowing yourself to know that that's okay.
yeah,
And then delegating this stuff, because obviously, look, like if you did it at some point in the business, there may be a good value to it long term. It's just you have higher value tasks and items that you need to focus on. You can't forever be doing the social media while you're growing a business.
right,
It's just
right,
not going to work. There's
yeah,
interns for that.
yeah, yeah.
There's outsourcing. There's delegation abilities. So, what are your normal kind of projects? Because you guys do a lot. I'm in the demolition world
Mhm.
specifically. I know with Luke, they're very much so excavation,
Yeah,
land clearing focused.
yeah.
I've seen you do some really cool stuff with demo. Tell me some about demo, and then tell me some about the other types of things that you guys do.
Yeah, so we specialize in more so of like excavation, grading, site work in and of itself.
Right.
Um, we've moved more into the sewer water line sector, digging for a lot of those is on top of our site work. And the demolition portion obviously comes along with a lot of that, whether it's for investors demoing a new house in order to dig for a new one and build up, or doing even selective demolitions. We have specific projects with different GCs. Now, I haven't shown a lot of that work, but of doing interior selective demo jobs and excavation work for plumbers, electricians, and stuff like that. Um,
Cool.
uh, and the concrete, I can't forget that. And we do a decent amount of concrete work as well, more so of flat work, a little bit of structural. And a lot of our foundations, though, we sub that portion out. Just got to be transparent when you're saying certain stuff out here in the ether and the internet,
That's fair.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cool. Well, I checked out your LinkedIn and stuff. How did you, it looks like, LinkedIn could be right, could be wrong. It
Hmm.
looks like you started your business, pretty quickly. Like, what was your experience beforehand? Was it like a pretty big dive off into this ocean of entrepreneurship and it was like sink or swim? How did that go? How did you get in the game, I guess?
Yeah, so like I said, landscapes construction is where I originally had my start. I started that as a sophomore in high school. My first
Got
job,
it.
yeah, as a sophomore in high school, and then kind of progressed over the years. Once I ended up graduating, uh, I got more in tune to like the heavy construction sides, actual equipment. My last job that I ended up having, I was working as a project manager over for 4 crews sometimes, for a large landscape construction company up in the Towson area, and that's where I had already been doing things on the side here and there, but that's where I kind of was like more taking the initiative to do to take on more of an initiative as far as like my passion, I guess you could sit there and say. So I'm trying to remember the timeline, sorry, because
No, it's all good.
it's been a minute since I've told this story, dude. So I was 21. I was 21, turning 22 when I had bought my house, and that's the same.
Wow, young.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, dude, I've been hustling, 2, 3 jobs. Whether it was high school or after high school. That's why I said, it was back and forth with this with this construction thing here, until it finally clicked. But what really set my mind towards the whole business practice. So landscape construction, doing a lot of like hardscaping and retaining walls and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
This guy had 3, 4 skid steers and 1 mini excavator.
Okay.
He's sending 2, 3 crews out to do work instead of sending, maybe 1 crew and the equipment, heavy equipment. It's just sitting at the shop, and except for like wintertime. That's the only time he would use it. And we would go back and forth of like, why don't you just send the guys out, be more efficient, and everything like that. So that's kind of what had pushed me a little bit more into, hey, I could do this better myself. Let me go ahead and do that. But I knew that I did not want to do hardscaping and everything like that. So I kind of positioned myself, obviously to do what I knew and then work my way into the construction industry. It took me about like 3 years in and of itself. But like I said,
Wow.
here we are now.
Cool. All right. Well, last few questions, man. What is, I guess, a few of the most difficult parts of the business? And then how do you overcome those, or how have you overcome some of those things?
I want to say employees.
Yeah. This
You
is
know,
how I know you're being honest.
yeah, yeah. I want to say employees. Kind of just the whole spectrum of that. Whether it's hiring, firing, commitment, personal goals, struggles, ignorance,
Mm,
whether it's younger or old. That's a big thing that I've learned as well. Ignorance does not have an age. Um, so I would definitely say employees, and then um, honestly, the second.
taxes.
Oh man, no.
Being as tax season kind of thing got me thinking.
I want to say giving too much. Um,
Okay.
sometimes sometimes, and I still struggle with this, especially that's why I said I rather have a straight business relationship. Sometimes I'm real, and this is also, I'm recognizing in the commercial space, it's difficult because you have a personal um uh concept, like you want to do this job, you see it, this is your OCD, you want to do this job great, ABCD, and sometimes you just come in and you have to do it A, C, E, F, something like
Right.
that, offbeat and off tone, and that can kind of mess with you, because that's one thing. When I say to our GCs is, we aim to be a supreme subcontractor. So what that means is when you call us and you send over a project that we can take it, put it in our hands, and we can run with it. And from beginning of end, it's pretty much seamless. Like we want to drive that process and that experience in and of itself. So, and I guess that's what I'm talking about is the experience process. I guess on our end, it's been very taxing. There we go. Talk about
There we
taxes.
go.
Talk
Yeah,
about
yeah,
taxes. There we go. That's the tax for you right there. It's been very taxing as far as on certain relationships and everything. How just the process in certain projects have gone with clients and everything, or with customers. I won't say, because everyone's not a client, right? You have
Mm,
customers as well. So just servicing them has been an issue in and of itself. But I think that's also coming from that residential sector, and then dealing with some higher end dealing with that residential sector and everything like that, because a lot of our commercial prod clients, they're dude, I mean, if you could just do it, that looks fine. I mean, it looks great. That's not how you should probably do it, and how it should look. There's a lot of things that we've done and seen as of late that I'm surprised are okay in the industry, and
right.
I guess I'm struggling with, is it okay for us to perform this way? Um, you know,
Mm,
more so of that aspect. And like I said, if younger on, I wouldn't have been thinking about this. Yes, that's what you told me to do. I'm gonna get it done. You're right. Um, and now it's a little bit deeper, because it's not all about the money. It's kind of
right.
about the process and journey, and more so have been focusing in on what I've been building. So, yeah, yeah.
That's
Hopefully I
cool.
answered
All
your
right.
question. I know that was long
No,
winded.
that was great. No, the longer the win, the better the better the
Yeah.
sale. There we go. We'll have fun with that one. No, it's good. I love that. How about this? A fun little question,
Yeah.
wrapping up, kind of. If there was a magic number that someone could present you to sell the business, is there any magic number? Not that we're going to hold you to it, but current state, they give you a bunch of cash. Have you ever thought about that? If not, let's put you on the spot. Would there be some like dream number? Not $500 million, but something that you would legitimately maybe get offered and would consider taking, or would you never, ever, ever plan to sell?
Oh, so that's a tough one, right? Um,
Your accountant's not listening.
so automatically I'll sit there and say I do have a number as far as like selling the business, but the problem is that it is Dirt Devil Enterprises. And
Mm,
what that means to me, like what what that means to me as the name and company, because I've actually had this vision. So I started sophomore. I started in landscape construction as a sophomore. So I believe it was my junior year. I had a thought, and I was working as a lifeguard at the time. Yes, dude, I remember it exactly. All right, I was working as a lifeguard at the time, and this was after school, and this guy just came back from using the bathroom and everything, and he had asked me, I don't even remember his name. He had asked me, he's like, dude, he's like, man, you're always working and da da da. Have you ever thought about, starting a hustle? I'm like, what? He's like, starting a hustle, doing your own little hustle, man. And I'm like, Nah, I haven't really thought about it, but both my parents have been business owners, right?
Okay.
So it had been toiling with me for like two or 3 weeks, and it kind of came to me after that time. I went to a technical school. So I had magnets. We had magnets. You had your certain specialties, kind of like preparing you for college. So I was in environmental technology. I was in my magnet, and my teacher at the time, his name's Mr. Cather. And honestly, those are one of those people that I would not be here today without him.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he's the one who actually introduced me to that to that sector, or to that segment of our magnet and everything. We tried 4 different things every single year. And I was sitting in class, and I was just like, dude, like, it'd be it'd be dope to have something with Dirt Devil, because
Mm.
and it had nothing to do with the vacuum or anything like that. It's because I was in sports all the time, and at the time, that was my nickname for running bases.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. So I played baseball, varsity baseball, since a freshman, and base running was my thing. And I ended up getting the name Dirt Devil just from a lot of time. I'm sliding, dude. I'm always getting caked up, dude. Um, and that's kind of what drove it. I don't even think I told Luke that. Now that I think about it, man,
Hey, all right. I'm gonna have to clown
that's
on him real quick.
crazy. But that's originally where I have that first thought, and then over the years, it kind of just you know dialed in. I wanted to make the logo and everything like that. Really, really personal everything. But I'm getting really far away from your question. As
No,
far
it's
as a
cool.
number, if I did
Yeah.
not have the name attached, I don't know, 5-10 million, because all
Wow. Okay.
I know by fact, all I'm gonna do is take it and go ahead and start something else, and it may be
Right.
another construction business, man. It might just be in another industry or another sector, because it's like, dude, I'd be thinking about that all the time, about restarting over, because I'm like, dude, if I could apply everything that I've learned and start from a clean slate, how
Mm-hmm.
quickly could I jumpstart and have things running? Even though we're 7-8 years in, I don't even know now, 7-8 years in, but I do have that thought a lot of the time. Yeah, for sure.
That's cool.
Uh,
Well, man, you've hustled, you've deserved it. Seems like you learned a lot, and I get it. I'm the same way. Especially with that extra bankroll,
mm.
like $5-10 million,
Yeah,
nothing small,
yeah,
and your liabilities are taken off, whether it's equipment or what have you, and just the wisdom that you have, the connections that you have, all that, plus the capital, and maybe you go take a vacation, get a little breathing room, clear
yeah,
your mind, kind of
yeah.
thing. I love it, man. Well, this has been an awesome podcast episode. I don't want to go crazy with the time. Want to
No,
be
you're fine.
respectful of your time. You
Yeah.
and I are going to hang out on the line. But is there anything else you want to share with the audience before we sign off? Let's get your website. Let's get your phone number. Any of those important things. Let people know how to find you. Before you plug that, any last little insights you care to share with our audience?
Um, I have a, I just have a saying all the time. And it's called "apply that pressure," and I've been saying it literally since I was in the wheelchair. Because when I was, and I'll make a note of this. When I was in the wheelchair and I was struggling on what I'm trying to do, instead of making excuses, I had a composition book, and I wrote in that thing till it was 35 pages, full, front and back.
Wow,
You know what I mean?
crazy.
And it's interesting because last year I turned 30, and um, last year also is when I took a look at that composition book, and it's been probably like 3, maybe 4 years or whichever, since the last time I took a look at it, just to go through crossing out the various different things. And I had to look at it, and it's like, dude, pretty much everything except for 3 things were crossed out.
Hmm.
So when you be actionable and put in that work and everything, like, and really apply that pressure with consistency, like, bro, like anything can work out. As long as you put forth the effort and are diligent, um, so I do want to sit there and say that in and of itself, just because a lot of people are stuck on the fence as far as doing things, and it's like anyone's going to tell you the same thing, dude. You got to take action first, and then you got to be consistent at it, and then after you do
Right.
that, after you do those 2 things, you need to be humble. You
Hmm.
need to be real humble, because talking a whole lot, it's not going to do a lot for you, but listening, and intaking, and and learning from those experiences, that's really what's going to help propel you, I guess, into that superficial term of success, quicker, in and of itself. That's just something that I've learned over time. I mean, and I guess that's the 4th thing is time, dude. Like, it's a marathon, man. Like I said,
Yeah, the sprint.
consistency.
It's not baseball anymore.
Yeah, man.
Can't be sprinting all over.
Exactly. It's a marathon, and you're talking about winning a race. Well, winning the race, like I said, that superficial term of success. So as long as you stay consistent and you take your time and everything, you'll end up locking it in, man. You'll end up getting there eventually. But definitely stay humble, man. Don't lose sight of that.
Right. Love it, man. All right. Well, let our audience know how to get in touch with you guys. Who's a good person to get in touch with you guys. Feel free to shout out your website, phone number, etc. And then
Yeah.
we'll sign off.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you. It's been a pleasure.
It's been fun, man. We
Yeah.
peeled some onions.
Yeah,
Some
I mean,
layers are removed.
yeah, I was actually expecting that you would have like some more questions. I was like, man, is this gonna be deep? So no, I feel like you took it easy on me in and of itself. You know, but I do appreciate the opportunity and the platform, and allowing me to tell a bit about myself and story and everything, and kind of spread some flowers around. So again, everyone, my name is Devin, Devin Burs, from Dirt Devil Enterprises. You can reach me or see the website, dirtdevilenterprises.com. Same thing with the socials, Dirt Devil Enterprises there as well. I don't think I'm gonna give anyone my email. You can find that
Yeah.
on our you can find that on the socials if you really want to look for it, and reach out if you have any questions or concerns or anything. I will say this because I learned that, like I said, in those early years. I do not have the answer to everything. If you want to talk and you want to have a conversation, and we both can learn from each other, that's the way I rather do things. But if you're going to come at me blasting with a whole bunch of questions and stuff like that, um, I'm not a school man, and I'm not a teacher. Life and mentors have taught me a lot. Mentors in construction have taught me a lot. I would not be here today without that. So again, if you want to come to me to have a conversation and build a relationship, that's one thing. But if you're gonna bombard me with questions, I might not answer. Yeah, I'm just overwhelmed. I'm just being honest, as far as that's concerned. But yeah, reach
Yeah.
out
One
anytime.
question at a time.
Yes, absolutely, dude, absolutely. Because that's how I look at things. Is all those questions are, how do I get there real quick? And it's like, look,
You
man,
don't.
yeah, you
One
don't,
step at
and
a time.
yeah, you don't, and I can't give you the answer to that, and it sounds taxing. Sounds like a girlfriend if I got to
Right.
answer questions like that, man.
Yeah. And this guy's married, so he doesn't have time for a girlfriend now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Married to business, married to life, married to my dog. Yeah,
I
dude.
feel that. Cool, man. All right. Well, guys, this has been an awesome podcast. Devin, thank you so much. Let's sign off. Thank you guys for watching this episode, soaking it in. And Devin, again, thank you for coming on, man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
That's a wrap for this episode of Demolition Success Secrets. Stay tuned and subscribe for more explosive insights from our upcoming episodes. Until then, continue to blow up your demolition business and make the competition rubble in your path.